Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Just want to say a thank you to all of the men and women who have dedicated their lives to service in the military, the Army, the Green Berets, the Navy SEALs, the infantry, like all of you guys. Thank you so much for serving the country. Your service does not go unnoticed. Don't worry about the people who might be somewhat against you or just... And I'm not even talking about overseas. I'm talking about people on American soil. Don't worry about those people. You've done a great service. And for those of you that sacrificed your lives to your families, you have no idea what it means to the rest of us. Let's get into the episode. Joe Rogan talking about immigration. Tucker Carlson talking about immigration. Talking about their fears in regards to what's happened with the border. And then I'm going to unleash a beast. I don't know if you have all heard about the beast Trump has unleashed on the border. The new border czar, Tom Homan. Now, I don't want to get that name wrong, sir. Tom Homan, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody out there. Let's get right into the episode, and then I got so many clips to show you guys. I think I got like 11 here, so let's get right into it.
You know, there's the border.
Okay, so I can't have it that fast, obviously. Let me slow it down for everybody.
Border's been invaded by hundreds of thousands of illegals. How many of them are militants? How many of them have snuck in across the border and are forming terror cells? We don't know. I mean, that's the giant fear.
That's for sure happening.
For sure.
There's no doubt.
For sure.
I read this thing that there's like 6 to 10 million people that came across the southern border in the last 4 to 5 years. That's as many people that live in New York City. And then like a crazy increase in people coming across the northern border.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like, and I see it. I've been in California a lot the last few months. It's insane how many more people are just obviously all of a sudden just appearing, like getting dropped off on like street corners with buses, literally just in the middle of nowhere. They literally just get off the bus with a cell phone.
But look at New York City. When Colin was explaining how New York City literally has a mandate to house its homeless.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be the people that lived there that were down on their luck. And now it's people that have come in from other cities or other countries rather, illegally. And they're trying to make it so that those people can vote. And you see what they're doing with people from Venezuela?
Crazy.
They're sending people back from Venezuela?
Only from Venezuela.
Yeah, because Venezuela opposes socialism. So they're not going to vote Democratic.
Yeah.
They don't want those people.
That's crazy.
This is wild.
It's crazy how it's so odd. Like when you start thinking about it like that, that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's like totally political, all these moves.
100%.
Yeah.
They're literally importing Democratic voters.
Yeah.
They think by allowing the borders to be porous and by giving people aid and giving people housing that you're essentially guaranteeing that if you can rig it so that those people are allowed to vote, those people are going to vote Democratic. And if you could say that, oh, voter ID is racist, like, what? Voter ID is racist.
That's crazy that they think that.
But
they don't think that. They don't think that. They know that that's not true.
It's horse.
Yeah.
It's all political horse. But that's unfortunately the level of discourse that we have today, especially with all the virtue signaling on social media and all the people clamoring to prove that they're the most progressive and the most open-minded and equitable, and we're all down for inclusivity and like,
yeah,
bro.
There's going to be repercussions to all that for sure. I mean, you see the videos in New York City and Chicago and these places where they're just dropping all these people off. They'll like video 500 people in a row and it'll be like 2 women. And almost everyone's like between 20 and 30 years old.
Yeah.
It's all military age dudes.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is going to happen 5 years from now?
Right.
With like 10 million illegal immigrants here.
Also, if you're importing people that have come from horrible crime-ravaged parts of the world, that's what they grew up with. That's what they're accustomed to. And
that's
if you also
baseline.
have a defunding of the police,
Yeah.
and you also have a complete disrespect for law enforcement in this country, well, it's a recipe for disaster.
Well, and think of it, it's so crazy because everybody has a smartphone these days. Even in, almost pretty much every country, people have smartphone and access to the internet. There's 8 billion people on the planet. The U.S. has an incredible, like the lifestyle, like the normal lifestyle in America is crazy. It's like a joke how good it is. Like people got it so good in this country. It's insane. 8 billion people are looking at that with social media.
Yeah.
And they're seeing on the news thousands and thousands and thousands of people walking across straight into the U.S.
Yeah.
and getting all these incredible things in return for doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I would be wanting to come here too if I was from some f***ed up country.
100%.
Yeah, so you
I
can't
don't blame
blame
them
but-
at all.
No.
I don't even blame them. I would 100% be one of those people making their way across. If I lived in Guatemala or wherever, all I had to do was like hike for a couple of weeks, and I could be in America and get a landscaping job and feed my family. And
you get a bus ticket to
Yeah.
freaking Tijuana or wherever
Yeah.
and then just walk across the border.
Yeah.
Sweet.
it's crazy.
Yeah. And then I feel like nobody agrees that having a secure border is a bad idea. I think everyone thinks that a secure border is a good idea.
Well, it became a political talking point during the Trump administration because people wanted to label Trump as racist and they wanted to label the wall as racist. But meanwhile, Obama
That's crazy.
it's so dumb. Obama was talking about that. Obama was talking about that in 2013.
Man, one thing that Joe just said in terms of being one of those people and wanting to go across, I think he's 100% right. But also, as you let people do that over and over and over again to the tune of millions, that way of life that everybody's looking for goes away. You know, my friend was talking to me about this. He was talking to me about how immigrants who have come over legally are feeling what the illegal immigrants are doing. They're feeling it the same way in terms of jobs, in terms of getting taken care of. Because they've come over legally. Some of them are citizens. They've done the whole thing, and they feel it just as much. They don't like it. So those same people who are legal immigrants, who did it the right way, coming for that American dream, now all of a sudden it's being slowly taken from them. And that's happening to white Americans. That's happening to black Americans, Hispanic, women, men, young, old. So you can't have people just do that. So yes, you would be one of those people, and you would. If you could do it, you would do it. But if everybody does it, that way of life that everybody's working towards goes away. Here's another clip of Joe and Chamath talking about this. Then we're going to move on to Tucker Carlson, and then I'm going to show you some beastly clips of Tom. Sir Homan, I want nothing but respect. You don't want to get on this guy's bad side, I'm telling you.
One camp is much more in the view that, you know, we are the world's policemen and there's a responsibility that comes with that. And one says, we got a lot of problems at home. We're not getting pulled into something abroad. And I think people need to decide about that. But other than those two threshold issues, my honest opinion is that there's, you know, we're in error bars between the two of them. One will cut taxes by this much. One will increase taxes by that much.
But there is real decisions that have been made during the Biden administration about the border that are affecting people.
Or lack thereof.
Well, I think it's a decision. I don't think it's a lack thereof, especially the flying people in and the utilization of an app to fly people in. That seems insane. Like the whole thing seems insane, and I don't know what the motivation is. I've talked to people that know a lot about the construction business, and they believe the motivation is cheap labor. They think that's a part of it, and that a lot of the problem is in many industries, the lack of cheap labor and people that are willing to do jobs. It's one of the things that I've heard. You know, there's a lot of criticism about all the Haitians that have moved to Springfield, Ohio. But one of the positive things that I've heard from people that live there is these people are hard workers and they're willing to do jobs that the other people weren't willing to take on. So you have pros and cons, but you have this incentivized effort to move people into this country illegally, which will undoubtedly bring in people that you don't want here. Gang members, cartel members, terrorists. That's real. And we've documented that. And there's people that have been arrested that were trying to come in that were terrorists. And there's people that have gotten through for sure.
I think that if I give both of them the benefit of the doubt, I think both of them will have to act on the border. I think that Donald Trump has had a clearer view of this issue for much far longer. I think that Kamala has had to shift her position to make herself more palatable to centrists. But I do think that both of them will probably have to act because I don't think what's happening today is sustainable.
Oh, man. This guy doesn't know how on the nose he is. Now, if you notice that little map that's in the corner, or little chart that's in the corner, to legal immigration into the U.S., if I don't know if you can tell, but this little blip here, this big old thing here, That's the Biden-Harris administration. I'm just saying this big old blip here is the Biden-Harris administration. Just saying, just putting it out there. So somebody put that in the corner just to, show what's really going on. Now we're going to play Tucker Carlson, and then we're going to get to exactly what Chamath was saying, because Chamath was 100% right. They both would have to act. Any administration has to act on a border that's porous. Even if it's a little bit, you have to act. And Trump did not play around. He acted. He has come through on the things that he said while running within, what's it been, 5 days? It's crazy how quickly he got on this.
Like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to watch the people whose ancestors built the country die, mock them as they die, and then replace them? I don't understand. Like, that suggests like actual hate, like homicidal hate. I would never want something like that for anybody. And by the way, it's not just the United States, it's happening all over the Western world.
Yeah.
The people whose ancestors built these countries are dying and they're being replaced. And it's like, why would you want to do that? There's something very heavy going on. Go to Sweden, go to the UK, go to London. it's shocking. And I don't, at this point, care if you're not allowed to notice it or if you're racist to notice it. It's happening in Ireland. Ireland was never a colonial power. Like in the United States, they're like, well, you have to put up with this because you were mean to Puerto Rico or something, or you know what I mean? Or you've used too much carbon, so you have an obligation to allow all of Central Africa move to your country and give them housing vouchers. Okay. But Ireland never did anything to anybody. Ireland was oppressed by Great Britain, actually. Right. It was never a colonial power. It sat out an entire
there are
world
actual
war.
movies about it.
No,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. They suffered a potato famine. So why are you doing this to the Irish? They are the indigenous population of their island. And you're watching them die and replacing them with people from the third world. On what basis are you doing that, George Soros? Actually, like, what's the real answer? Yeah. And you have to think that this is genocidal intent. Like, what else is it? Honestly, what else is it? Oh, shut up. How about no? Because I want to live like it's 1985 in the country that I loved, where honest questions could be asked with full confidence. You had a right to do that because you're an American. And I'm going to live that way until I die. And I don't care what they do to me. I'm going to live like it's 1985 in my country. And
Stop playing around. I'm going back to 1985. But let me tell you something. This gentleman that we have coming up agrees with Tucker Carlson, and he's going hard. I just want to show Joe Scarborough having. It's so sweet that Joe Rogan. Joe Scarborough has to report on what Trump is saying, and they have to call him what? President-elect.
President-elect Trump announced Tom Homan, the former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, who backed his zero tolerance policy, will be his administration's border czar. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote that Homan's areas of control will include the southern and northern borders, all maritime and aviation security. Trump added border czar Homan will be in charge of the deportation of illegal immigrants. Homan touts hardline immigration views and previously vowed to run the biggest deportation force this country has ever seen.
So Zanny, obviously this is going to be a big part of what Donald Trump likely does at the beginning of his administration. He promised mass deportations, historic deportations. The American people heard it every day for about a year and a half and voted for him. So this is going to be one of the first things. And I would guess one of the great challenges would be politically for this possible director to avoid the sort of chaos we saw at the beginning of his first term, where those first 3-4 days were just pictures of airports and other places just absolutely jammed with people, with protests, with chaos.
I have to say, I think Joe Scarborough's wrong. This Tom character, I'm going to show you some clips of this guy. He doesn't care. He doesn't even slightly care about how this is going to look. He's not playing around at all.
Hello, I'm Tom Homan from Border 911. You know, I wake up every morning pissed off on what this administration has done to our national security, to our southern border. When I worked for the Trump administration, we handed this administration the most secure border of my lifetime. They unsecure this border on purpose. What commander-in-chief does that to the nation? It has resulted in a record number of Americans dying from fentanyl, over 112,000. A record number of women and children being sex trafficked into the United States. This is devastating to America. We can't have national security without border security. The Border 911 team, who is experts, the most profound experts in the world when it comes to border security, are going to spend the next year educating the American people on why border security matters. It's a national security threat, it's a public safety threat, it's a public health threat. When President Trump walks back in the Oval Office in January of 2025, we'll lock this border down in 120 days. Hello, I'm Tom Homan from...
My guy said this December 12th, 2023. This guy is no joke. Let's go.
465 miles. Under President Trump, illegal immigration was at a 45-year low, down 83%, unprecedented. And the only thing that upsets me about Ron DeSantis, he talks about he could have done more. We built 465 miles of wall. President Trump did things. I worked for 6 presidents down with Ronald Reagan. No president has done more to secure this nation, protect this country than Donald Trump. Regardless if you like him or not, you can't deny the unprecedented success he had on our border that saved lives. Under President Trump, illegal immigration...
This guy's a bulldog. Now you can already see that he's very serious about President Trump. He's making some very huge claims talking about how great Trump was with border security. Now you're going to hear him after realizing, I think at this point he knows he's the border czar because he has a message.
As a guy who spent 34 years deporting illegal aliens, I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now. You're damn right. Because you're going home. I got another message to the criminal cartels in Mexico. You smuggled enough fentanyl across this country to kill 148,000 young Americans. You have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. And that's when President Trump gets back in office. He's going to designate you a terrorist organization, and he's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. You're done. You're done.
That's the border czar right there. This guy is not playing around. This is the new face of America First, I have to say. I was excited about RFK. I was very excited about Tulsi, very excited about Elon Musk. This is wow. Wow. This is wild. I mean, this guy even took apart AOC.
Recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his
Mr. Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
You see AOC's face at the end? She's just like,
Recommendation of the many.
she's just like, oh God. I really think this guy doesn't want open borders. I don't think this guy's on our side. Oh man, here he is again talking about what he plans on doing.
Exactly what I'm doing. And look, this is the second time I came out of retirement for this president, and because it matters. And look, I was a border patrol agent. I wore that uniform, and I'm proud that I wore that uniform. So, and I was an ICE agent. I was the first ICE director that actually came up through the ranks. So the 20,000 men and women that worked for me, I didn't ask them to do anything. I did do myself. I was one of them. So look, I know the border. And I know there's a lot of great patriots. Look, I shut my phone off Friday night because I couldn't handle the phone calls, the texts, and emails from thousands of ICE agents and Border Patrol agents excited about the rumor I'm coming back. But more importantly, that thousands of retired agents retired Border Patrol agents, retired military that want to come in and volunteer to help this president secure the border and do the deportation operation. So I've been off the grid for 3 days just because I couldn't handle all the phone calls, and plus all the death threats rolling in. My family's not at home right now because that's starting. But that's something we're going to deal with. They're not going to bully me away. They're not going to shut me up. They're not going to make me go away. This is the biggest national security vulnerability this nation has seen since 9/11. We have to fix it.
Wow. Exactly. This guy's not playing around. Death threats and all. And how crazy, how crazy is it to get death threats as somebody who's doing something so American as to secure the border? Just unprecedentedly secure the border, unabashedly secure the border. But, it's just, he's already getting death threats. But there's so many people who are excited that he's in this position. Here's another reason why there are so many people excited to see this guy in this position.
Is there anything you'd like to respond to what you've heard today?
Hold on, let me slow this down. No, we're going to slow it down so you guys can hear every word of this.
Yeah, I'd like to respond to Acting Chairman J. Paul on your comment about the Trump administration moving money around for more detention beds. I'd like to remind you, under the Obama administration, we did that most of the years he was president. We moved money around. DHS is called reprogramming. We did that under the Obama administration. I don't remember any hearings on that. And also, I'd like to remind you that under the Obama administration, you're quick to point out that the cages were built under the Obama administration. I was there. Family detention, we had 100 family beds under the Obama administration. We built 3,000 more. So when there was a surge in FY14 and FY15 on the border, Congress was quick to give all the money we needed to build detention facilities, get transportation contracts. We reprogrammed money out of the majority of the years he was president. That was fine. Under Obama administration, FY12, we removed 409,000 people, half of what was removed last year. There was no hearings on that. So this is about transparency. Let's be factual about it.
The time of the gentleman has expired. Since you did address some comments at me, I'll just say that I didn't like it under the Obama administration either. In fact,
but be honest with the American people. You can't point out faults in the Trump administration when it happened under the Obama administration. That's dishonesty. It's pathetic and it's sad.
Mr. Homan, I control the time, and I am the chairwoman of the committee. Thank you for respecting that. I didn't like it under the Obama administration, and I'll remind you, Mr. Homan, that you also testified before Congress in support of the Obama's Priorities Enforcement Program before the Senate Judiciary Committee on May 19th, 2016, which had a very different approach.
Well, can I respond to that?
Can
I respond to that?
No.
Of course not.
And I want to give you some time, but I do want to ask one quick question, and I want to make one quick statement. I find it very offensive that anybody would compare any federal employee, frankly, to someone who, the Gestapo or running Nazi concentration camps. That is very offensive. I have 15 seconds and I yield it to you.
Thank you for saying that. I wish somebody in Democratic leadership would say that out loud. Look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan, please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get me go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one witness, one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair...
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
The witness will suspend.
Oh my gosh, this guy's the best. Make him vice president. That's it. That's it. Can we just... I love JD, but this guy... Make this guy vice president today. What are we talking about here? This guy's amazing. I love this guy. Why did I know about this guy before? He's the best. I'm telling you, if Trump wasn't around and this guy came with these talking points and he was running for president, people would be like, oh, okay. Okay, I get it. It's him, obviously. This guy's amazing. Wow. Trump has surrounded himself with middle fingers to the establishment. That's all there is. Elon's just a middle finger to the people who are against freedom of speech. RFK's a middle finger to people who are ambushing Americans' health. Tulsi's a middle finger to the Democratic Party. Like, this guy's a middle finger to the whole establishment. This is crazy. His whole cabinet's just gonna be middle fingers. That's it. No thumbs. No thumbs. No thumbs, no ring fingers. Just middle fingers everywhere. It's gonna be incredible. I'll play this for you as well. This is 60 minutes. We'll see if they let me play this 60 minutes. They got a problem with me a little bit because I tried to go in on the Kamala Harris interview.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Oh my God. Jesus. Wow. There he goes. He's not playing around. This guy is, whatever he says he's about to do, he's doing it. If Trump is just like, go ahead, he's doing it. Whatever he has to do. He used to be the director of ICE, if you guys didn't know. He was a border agent for, decades. So he's done every job you could think of up until director of ICE, and now border czar. I guess the director of ICE will be reporting to him, something along those lines. Wow. And you know what? That might sound a bit harsh, what he just said about deporting families. But the Democratic, the Biden-Harris administration pushed it to this point to where the American people don't care anymore. They're like, you just spent, people are projecting numbers upwards of $100 billion on illegal immigrants whose first act into the nation was breaking the law. And you're treating them better than veterans. You're treating them better than the homeless. You're treating them better than the citizens. So it gets to this point. They could have just done a good job with the border and kept it sealed. And then maybe people hearing this, who are even Trump supporters, might go, oh, that's too much. No. But because of how far you pushed it, how dumb you decided to try and make the American people feel, they hear this and they go, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm looking for. Thank God somebody said it already. That's what happens. You want to push it to that extent, that's what happens. 100%. And of course, exactly to my point, listen to what this woman says about Trump voters.
Thing to do.
You realize, it's chilling what he just said. You realize that when he says, yes, families can be deported together, what he is saying is that U.S. citizens can be deported. What he is saying is, if the parent is undocumented and they have U.S. citizen children or U.S. citizen spouse, and you don't want to separate them, then let's deport the U.S. citizens. Look, Donald Trump won the electoral vote. He won. He's going to win the House. He won the Senate. For all effects and purposes, he's got the Supreme Court. They've given him immunity. This is what the country voted for. This is, a lot of people thought that when he talked about mass deportations, he wasn't being serious. I don't know how many times he had to say it for people to realize he was being serious. Well, if you thought he wasn't being serious, the appointment of Tom Homan today as border czar, and he will be in charge of a mass deportation program, the largest the country has ever seen, they say. And now Stephen Miller, as deputy chief of staff, should let you know that he was absolutely serious. And when you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, those of you who voted for Trump, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around and you're about to find out.
Look at her face. It's ridiculous. Just in case they didn't let me post it, because these two outlets have a real problem with me. I don't know what it is. I know what it is, obviously. But just in case you don't know, Tom Homan said in the 60 Minutes clips that when it comes to separating families, that they don't have to be separated. He can just deport the whole family if that's what they need. Now, she's responding to it, saying that, you know, Trump supporters, oh, you're screwed around. You're going to find out. This is what they wanted. Everybody knows. It's so crazy that they keep acting like Trump supporters are morons. Like they don't know. Like they have no concept of what mass deportation means. How many hundreds of thousands, even millions of people went to Trump rallies? Like they didn't hear what he was talking about the whole time. Like they're not seeing the illegal immigration. Like they're not seeing the videos of the border just being rushed by people. They understand what it means. That's what they wanted. She's saying it like, oh, now you didn't think he was serious. Yeah, they did. That's why they went with Trump, because they were like, someone's very serious about this. And it turns out Trump was extremely serious about what he had to say or what he planned to do. And this is what this gentleman plans to do if Democrat-run cities decide to stand in his way.
Democrats and blue sanctuary cities and states saying they will oppose you?
They got to get out of the way because we're coming. Now, I'd much rather work with them and target, because, you know, it's clear that we're going to target public safety threats and national security threats first. That's our priority. And I would think any elected representative, a mayor, a governor, especially the police chiefs, would want to work with us to remove public safety threats and national security threats out of their states. But if they don't want to help, fine. Just get the hell out of the way, because ICE is going to do their job, and they're not going to stop it.
So if you say in New York City, you're going to double the manpower to get it done?
We have to. I mean, look, it'd be nice to have a force multiplier. It'd be nice if they let us give us access like Rikers Island that we used to have. But if they're not going to let us in the jails, arrest the bad guys, we'll have to wait till they release the person, which means we got to go to the neighborhoods and find them. That's going to require more agents. So if I have to send more agents to a sanctuary city, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because we have a mission. As you said earlier, we have a mandate for the American people. They want this fixed, and we're going to fix it with or without mayors and chiefs of police.
Wow. Let's see what Gavin Newsom has to say about this. Am I right? You know, Eric Adams is going to just be like, thank God. Thank God the city is falling apart. The FBI's at my door because I said that the city's falling apart. They're doing all sorts of things here. You know, one of the unspoken victims of lawfare, in my opinion. Although I don't like Mayor Adams, it does seem like a little convenient that as soon as he says that this is destroying the city and this needs to stop, then all of a sudden his door gets kicked in. I'm just saying. I don't like the guy. I don't like the decisions he makes, but you can see it when it happens, you know? So that is the whole shebang when it comes to Tom Homan. He is not playing around. This is Trump's most fierce appointment. Fierce. This is great. I can't wait to see what this guy does. But again, this is what Trump's talked about the whole time. He had a plan, and he always talked about how he couldn't release certain parts of his plan. And this is it. This is why. Because it was a good plan. Couldn't have Kamala copy in this part. No. This is just for Trump. Anyway, guys, I just want to leave you guys right now. We're going to do a minute of silence for those who have fallen, paid the ultimate price, and those of you that serve the country. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much it means to us. You are the ones who stand up for us and the ones that will stand up for us if something ever happened, God forbid, on American soil. So thank you very much. Guys, I'm out.